Have you ever wondered what would happen if you ate the flesh of another human being? I haven't either, but we're gonna talk about it right now. Let's go. Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the MadMedicine show. My name is Farhan. I'm also on TikTok at MadMedicine, where we've got a small community. I don't know exactly why, but I love it. Thank you so much for your support. If you're coming from TikTok, consider subscribing because your support means a lot to us on this account. Anyways, we're gonna be talking about a question I have been asked one too many times by both my friends, but also by random strangers on the internet. What would happen if you consumed human flesh? It's kind of a gross question, but I think it's also very interesting. And the other day, I was scrolling through TikTok, just mindlessly scrolling, and I came across this video by a group of creators called ASAP Science, and they were talking about eating human flesh. And I thought, you know what? That's a great topic. We gotta talk about it. If you wanna see the full video, I highly recommend you check it out. It's in my description, or it's in the description of this video. Check out their video. It's a dope video. Anyways, we're gonna be discussing what happens if you consumed human flesh. Now, of course, this is illegal. Do not be doing this type of stuff. It's very dangerous, but it's also wrong on so many levels, so don't do it. Please don't do this. Okay, now that we've done the disclaimer part, let's talk about eating human flesh. You see, the thing is, we as human beings actually are made up of meat, and a lot of meat. In fact, we have so much meat in our body that it is estimated that we have approximately 125,000 calories worth of energy that is in our body, meaning our meat, and I guess our bones too, but our meat and flesh is worth 125,000 calories. For reference, a slice of pizza you probably ate over the weekend or over the weekday if you're a college student, I don't know. A slice of pizza is roughly 400 to 450 calories. That means you as a human being are worth about 3,000 slices of pizza. Okay, pizza sounds pretty good right now and I shouldn't be hungry during this video. We're gonna ignore that. But you're worth a lot of calories. Now, this is obviously for an average sized human being. Some people are just larger and bigger boned. Some people are just heavier set, and some people just have more muscle mass. And if that's the case, you're probably worth a lot more calories than the 125,000, estimate that we have. But that's the rough estimate. Now, what would human flesh taste like? Kind of a weird question, but unfortunately, I wish this was all theoretical. It's not, because there have been people in modern day, in modern society, who have unfortunately eaten human flesh. Now, they are murderers, and a few of them are still free, which we're not going to talk about in this video, but they have described what human flesh tastes like. From their description, human beings and human flesh seems to taste very similar to either veal or pork. I don't understand the veal part, but I do understand the pork thing. You see, pork meat or pig meat is very similar to human flesh, to the point that when I'm in medical school and when we're being trained as physicians, we actually have to practice our suturing and other techniques on pig flesh because of the similarity in both the texture and the tensile strength and essentially the way the flesh looks. So we practice on pig meat because we don't want to practice on human beings. That's not right. So we actually practice on pig meat because it's so close, it's so similar. So that I understand. So now that we've talked about how many calories you're worth and how you would potentially taste, let's talk about the dangerous parts of eating human flesh. Other than going to jail, there are a lot of dangers to eating a human being. You see, we as humans are not, how do I put it? We are not benign. Okay, we are actually harbingers of disease. There's a lot of bacteria and viruses in our body. That's something we cannot do anything about. We can't. It's just the way life works. And the thing is, if you are going to be consuming human flesh, you might actually be exposing yourself to those disease particles. And some of those particles are spread by blood. And the blood-borne illnesses are easily transmitted if you get exposed to someone's blood. For example, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, HIV, all of these conditions are spread by the blood or bodily fluids. So if you get exposed to someone's blood or someone's bodily fluid and it goes into your bloodstream and you get exposed to it in your body, you are at a higher risk of developing that infection, developing that condition. Well, the same applies to eating human beings. If you are eating their flesh, if you are eating the meat, no matter what, you are going to be consuming particles of blood, and you are going to be consuming whatever infection they might carry. That means you are making yourself at a higher risk of developing those bloodborne illnesses. Kind of gross. Not to mention that we have E. coli and other bacteria in our gut that it's just gross, and there's poop too there. Yeah, so you're at a higher risk of developing an infection. That's the first thing. The other thing, however, is more dangerous. And it's something that a lot of people don't realize but can happen. And it's happened in history before. And that is, you are at a higher risk of getting an infection by a particle called a prion. A prion is a protein, but it's not just any type of protein. It's a very dangerous protein that if you get exposed to, you are at a significantly higher risk of dying from. You see, in our body, we have proteins because they play a very important role in not just building up your muscle and muscle mass, but also in normal cellular functions. So proteins, very valuable, very important. And proteins are very, very interesting because they have a 3D structure. And their 3D structure is essentially composed of either beta plated sheets, which is just like folded sheets, okay? Or alpha helices, which is just a helix of the protein. And the way the protein is folded is very important because a specific folding structure gives the protein a specific function, and it allows the protein to do its specific function. And if proteins are not folded the right way, they cannot function properly and they can't do their intended role. Well, prions are misfolded proteins, meaning their folding and their tertiary structure, which is the 3D structure, is not right. And they do not function like normal proteins, meaning they are useless, right? Yes, but also they're extremely dangerous because prions have another effect, a second effect other than just being misfolded proteins, and that is when a prion interacts with another protein, even though that protein might be a normal, completely normal protein. When a prion interacts with that protein, it causes the protein, the normal protein, to become misfolded and become a prion. So then you have two prions. And if they continue and do what they do best, you're gonna get more and more prions. And then your proteins won't function properly and you will end up passing away. Now this all seems theoretical, this all seems insane, and this all seems like it's out of a movie, but it's not. And in fact, we know this because there are prion diseases that we have seen in modern medicine today. And one of those is very interesting, and that is the disease called Kuru. Okay, you see, researchers were studying a tribe, an indigenous tribe in New Guinea, and what they found was that these indigenous people would actually consume the flesh, the actual brains of their deceased loved ones as a part of a ritual, especially during their funeral. This was a ritual for the funeral that they did, and they did as a community. And when researchers were looking at this population, when they were looking at this small tribe, they noticed that there was a significantly higher rate of these weird conditions, these weird neurologic conditions that really couldn't be described by anything else. In fact, this community was at a higher risk of developing a weird, I guess, sequelae of symptoms. And when researchers went deeper, they realized that it was all because they were eating their loved ones' brains. They were contracting a condition called Kuru, and Kuru would cause these people to essentially lose their proper brain functioning. When they would lose their proper brain functioning, they would laugh at inappropriate times, they would not be able to do their normal duties, they would eventually deteriorate away from their brain because their brain wouldn't function even though their body was perfectly fine. All because the brain tissue that they had consumed already had prions in them. And when they ate that brain tissue, they got exposed to the prions. And when they got exposed to the prions, those prions went throughout the body and they went to their brain. When they went to the brain, they caused the normal proteins in the brain to become misfolded. And when they became misfolded, those normal proteins became prions. And over time, those people would pass away. So yeah, we see that in real life. There are other diseases, prion diseases, called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. That is also a prion disease. And more recently, we have seen this in the agriculture and the livestock industry, aka mad cow disease. Yeah. Maybe don't consume human beings. It's not a good idea. No one recommends it. I think actually it's a horrible, horrible idea. If you found this video entertaining and helpful, consider subscribing to our channel because we're going to be posting a lot more entertaining and fun topics like this across the way. We're going to make science fun and educational, and we'll see you back here in a little bit. Take care, fam.